I don't know the engine code of that. I think it's something like 8 farts. Hello, people of the interwebs. It's your favorite shop-dwelling Sarah here with another car review. And today it is the 2021 Lexus IS350 FSport. The Lexus IS has been redesigned for the 21 model year, and this thing is good looking. I mean, that's a sexy car right there. If you were never a fan of the I'm gonna eat your face off front end that Lexus uses, Lexus decided to say tough shit with a 21 model year, and I'm a fan of it, especially these headlights. They are a modified version of the triple beam because now it has this giant Nike swoosh above it. In my opinion, the Lexus IS has always been Lexus's tuner car. It dates back to the first generation Lexus IS350, which came with a naturally aspirated 2JZ, and in other countries they had the Altezza, which came with a 3SGE Beams engine. It was a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that sounds epic. And that's where I have a bit of a debate with this car. The FSport package, while you do get a lot, I'm just not sure if I would spend my $4,200 on this package versus buying parts myself and customizing the car. Now you do get these 19-inch forged BBS wheels, a Torsen LSD adaptive suspension, as well as variable drive modes and a special steering wheel with this FSport package. And that would be tough to buy quality parts on the aftermarket front for $4,200. Personal opinion, never opt for these things. These door edge moldings, it's a perfect place to trap dirt and moisture and cause corrosion. Hands down, this is the best part about the new Lexus IS, the rear end. Look at these haunches on the rear quarter panels. In addition to the rear deck lid spoiler having a duckbill kind of built into it, it also has an optional carbon fiber rear wing. Yes, 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 and yes. That right there is a unibrow that should never be plucked. Because this is a car review, I got to include the trunk space, but this is a first aid kit and it has Velcro in the back, so let's see where it sticks. Yeah, look at that. That's like, what, 50 points right there? Moving to the interior, this IS350 FSport is equipped with quite a few packages, and in itself, this car starts at just over $42,000 for the rear-wheel drive model, and I think that is decent value. It's when you start adding these packages that you start getting into trouble. This thing, as equipped, is in the mid-50s, and I don't know how I feel about that. Ooh, well, there's even some wood in the back seat, too. That's what he said. But looking at what you get, this does have the FSport package, which comes with this steering wheel. That the top portion of it looks like someone spray painted a broom handle black. A curved broom handle nonetheless, but it still looks like a black spray painted broom handle. All jokes aside about the steering wheel looking like a wooden broom handle that's been spray painted, I think it's creative, and they use the same material down here on the doors by the window controls, and it's unique. I like when manufacturers do things out of the box. This is the back seat. There's no USBs back here. There's some LED. The interior on this one is all black, and these seats are heated and ventilated, as well as the steering wheel is heated. Bolstering wise, yeah, it's got good bolstering. Decent, and it's a comfortable seat too on top of that. And also, FYI, with this interior, if you got ashy skin, yeah, you're gonna leave skin marks all over the plastic. Look at this. I could play tic-tac-toe with my skin. That's disgusting. It still has the tried and true Lexus clock right here in the center. They're not ever gonna get rid of that analog clock, and I like that. Oh, look at this. Ooh. It's a pretty durable feeling cup holder. I feel like a child could grab this and yank on it for 2.5 years until it would finally break. All right, let's fire this thing up, go over the tech features, and see how it sounds. Lexus, I see you. I'm a fan of the 2GR. People are kind of hating on this car because it still has the 2GR in it. As far as tech and infotainment goes, still has the little Lexus touchpad in the center console. to control things with. And sounds like Gran Turismo when you move stuff around. The infotainment system is stereotypical Lexus, the way the menu works. I'm gonna listen to some Biggie right now. You guys aren't, because copyright issues. And it does have fruit and robot chatability, as well as climate. Also is touchable, in case you want to touch it. And magic. Just swipe your finger across and it lights up. This also has the 17 speaker, 1800 watt Mark Levinson sound system. It's pricey, it's over $2,000, but you gotta have a sound system. Like, I think that's an option that you gotta have a good sound system. As far as the gauges go, listen. It's the sound of robots right there moving the cluster over. Other Lexus models have it as well. I don't know how I keep a straight face saying stupid stuff like this. This thing has plenty of tech in it. It has a feature that every single time you pull up to a stoplight or just come to a stop in a parking lot, it instantly puts the front-facing camera and 360-degree camera up on your screen so you can see how close you are to curbs or the person in front of you if you want to ride their ass. In the name of science, it is now time to give it the beans. And because this is the FSport model, it does have multiple drive modes you can go through. There is Eco, Normal, Custom, Sport, Sport Plus, and of course Snow, which I don't need right now. I'm leaving it in Sport Plus, and I'm going to fully defeat traction control. Time to give this thing the beans and see what it can do. Ready? Go! Ooh, it chirped the tires and bogged a little bit. Alright, it's pretty quick. It's not bad. It doesn't have much torque though. It's all up high. It just needs like another 500 RPM and it'll be perfect. And this thing will let you actually bang it off rev limiter, but it bogs if you do that. Quick popper. Hello, welcome to Garage Science of Sarah. Under the hood of this 2021 Lexus IS350 is none other than the 2GR FKS. It is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 that produces 311 horsepower at 6,600 RPM and 280 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. You can also get this with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. I don't know the engine code of that. I think it's something like 8 farts or something. I think the engine code is like 8 farts. It's along the lines of 8 farts. Either way, there's also a 5-liter V8 that is going to be coming later this year. It's not going to be called the ISF though, but who cares? They're still bringing back the ISF, whether they want to call it that or not. Time for the braking test. No one behind me but a penguin. Ready? Ooh, wow. The low oil light came on for a second. Guess it doesn't have any baffles for fluid to go that way. Hello, I'm back. Time to go over the drivetrain on this IS350. Come. The first thing I noticed when I looked underneath here is how the rear diff actually mounts to the rear subframe. It's got twin bushings on either side of it, and the rear diff itself has tons of heat sinks on the bottom and on the rear case of the pumpkin itself. It's crazy. There's a fairly impressive mid-pipe on the exhaust of this car too. It's similar to the LC500 I just reviewed recently. It is a true dual exhaust, but what's impressive is the way they're welded to the pipes is really pretty. If you look right here, it just kind of flows nice and smooth down into the pipe itself. It looks like there's individual welds almost that transition them together for optimal flow. That's nice. Up front, you can see this does have dual wishbone suspension and everything is aluminum other than obviously the tie rod ends and the anti-sway bar and the end link and the strut. Okay, so not everything is aluminum up here, but there's quite a bit of aluminum stuff. Transmission-wise, this rear-wheel drive IS350 model utilizes an ISN AA81E 8-speed automatic transmission. And as far as you guys can see, there's a pan right here and also a nice little ground strap. About all you're gonna be able to see of this thing. Okay, Lexi, let's see what you can do. I just wish I could rev higher. And it short shifts early on you too. That's all this car needs. It just... Make it rev to 8. I mean, come on, let's do it. I'm sure Toyota could make this engine rev to 8 and still be reliable if they really wanted to. There is an eagle on the side of the road that just killed an animal. Might have also been a falcon, I don't know, or a hawk. It was a big bird and it just killed something, and I saw it just waving its arm up in the air. Anyway, corners. How does this thing do in some corners? I like how the tack turns orange when you're nearing red line. The Lexus is a driver's car. See what I did there? The downshifts on this IS and 8-speed aren't bad. The upshifts a little bit laggy compared to like a ZF or something, but it's still kind of engaging to use the paddle shifters on here. It's not as good as if this thing had a 6-speed manual, but there's no point even complaining about that anymore because manufacturers don't give a shit, and we're not going to see 6-speed manuals in cars other than like exotics and sports cars anymore. I wish I was on a track so I could just disable the traction control and see if this thing will get crazy if the cheese whiz. But I'm not. So you'll just have to take my word for it that you can feel if you were to chuck this thing into a corner, it would oblige. Alright, adaptive suspension. This is a bumpy road, so let's try you in normal. Yeah, I actually noticed a difference there, putting it to normal from Sport Plus over the bumps. A lot of cars I review, sometimes when you just mess around with the different modes, it's hard to notice a difference. I don't know. I have to say, out of all the Lexus sedans I reviewed, the IS is my favorite, above some of the $100,000+ super luxury cars. This is my jam right here. I like this car. If you guys never seen one of my car reviews before, I have multiple categories to rate and assess them, starting with the bean score. It is a rating of 1 to 5 beans based on the feeling you get behind your belly button when you extract beans. And the 21 Lexus IS350 FSport is getting a rating of 1.7 beans. While I agree this thing could use more power, and there is a 5-liter V8 on the way that's going to solve that problem in the IS, what I think this could have used more importantly on this 3.5-liter V6 is more revs. If you had made this thing rev to like 7,500 or maybe even higher, that would really make this a driving experience, especially having that soundtrack, that naturally aspirated V6 behind it. Next is the cookie score. It is a rating of 1 to 5 cookies based on what you get for what you spend. And the Lexus IS350 as it is, base with no options, I think is decent value. But when you add all the options that this one has, it's getting a rating of 2.5 cookies. That is a flat average score. I think it is on par with what they are charging for new cars today. I don't think it's excellent value, and I don't think it's terrible value. It's just cookie. Anyway, lastly is the Penguin score. It is an assessment of how much I personally like a vehicle. And before I even finish this, I gotta say, out of all the cars I review, every once in a while I get this feeling when I sit in the car and I plug my butt into the seat and I'm just like, home. I don't know how else to describe it, but I get that feeling with this Lexus IS, and that means it's a car I could actually see myself owning. And I'm gonna have to give this a rating of 4 penguins. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for all of the Lexus IS line. I especially like the old school IS300. I don't know, I think these are great cars. I like the proportions of it. It's fun to drive, and I cannot wait for this thing to have the 5-liter V8 back in it. I just don't know why they're not gonna call it an ISF. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye. I don't even know what I was going to record here. I just looked over and the Penguin is like deep in thought reading the tag on the keys. I didn't do that. It did it on its own, I swear.